a machine. So much torque to brake traction as well. Despite the four-wheel drive, it'll do it for you all day long. So good morning, welcome back to the channel, welcome to Silverstone. Today we're back at the wing side of the pits, which is the posh pits, the Formula One pits. Today, as the title would suggest, is a pretty big deal because it is the world's first drive of the brand new Bentley Continental GT Speed. We're about to go out in one of those cars. I think I'm in the candy red car, which will be cool. But before we do, we thought we'd take you behind the scenes to show you what goes on these launches, because there's oftentimes a lot of the stuff you don't see. So let's have a wander through. This is often what happens when a new car is launched. A brand, and today it's Bentley, will share the lineage of the model from pretty much where it started, right here, all the way to what it's evolved to today, which is the Continental GT Speed. So there's all of this lovely stuff to look at while you're eating a posh croissant and drinking some fine Bentley brand coffee, which is always cool. But today we're here to talk about speed, and conveniently, and I never thought these words would leave my mouth, there is a rear diff and axle over there, which I think, believe it or not, of everything in this room, probably sets the most context as to the massive improvements of the new Speed. And we'll see how that translates to drivability when we get out on track. So let's come and check out this diff. Behold, the rear end of the new Continental GT Speed. Now, the significance of which is this thing, rear wheel steer, and these things, carbon ceramic brakes. Now this is the rear, so they don't look that big here. These are the four pots on the rear. The new car is running 10 piston calipers on a set of carbon ceramic discs. Fun fact, they are the world's largest carbon ceramics ever made. I've also just clocked that I'm now indoors, so I don't need these. Yes, world's largest carbon ceramic discs. We'll go over to a car shortly and poke the lens through the spokes of the new exclusive wheels 2-speed. But this is what it's all about. There's a lot of software calibration gone into this, as well as rear wheel steer. Can't tell you about that until we go out for a drive. But Bentley have posed a question to us. In fact, come to see this. It's up on this board over here. There's 3 questions that they asked us at the end of the presentation earlier. 1, is this the pinnacle of the Continental GT lineage? 2, is this the most dynamic Bentley road car ever made? And 3, is it the best 2-door Grand Tourer in the world? Now, the road drive's on until September, when the car will be homologated legally to drive on the road, which is why the launch today is on track. So we can't answer 3 until we've done a road drive. But the question that they're most interested in, getting feedback from us and all of these wonderful journalists here, is number 2. Is this the most dynamic Bentley road car ever made? We're about to send it around a track to find out. But it all comes down to this. Most of the improvements are driven from the rear end, the software calibration of the ECU, the 48-volt anti-roll architecture, and these massive carbon ceramic brakes, which are going to stop all 2 tons of 650 horsepower W12. Join me down here. Before we go out in this has a Krapovich titanium exhaust system. Not the words that I thought I would utter when it comes to a Bentley, but look at it, it's beautiful. It's got subtle Krapovich branding right there, and Bentley here, and I'm told when you go out you can really hear that W12 warm barbel. Now this is running the carbon styling pack, which is effectively front, back and sides carbon trim, carbon sills. These are the Speed specific wheels. These are 22-inch wheels. Now a minute ago we showed you the 4-pot brake calipers here with the new carbon ceramic brakes over here, but where it really gets interesting is the business end of the braking, which is down here. And the reason they've got 22-inch wheels on isn't just to look good, but it's to accommodate the world's largest carbon ceramic brakes. and these 10 piston calipers. I can barely fit a finger in there. It's so snug, they're absolutely colossal. But with a car that's capable of 280 miles an hour, you need to be able to stop it, don't you? And then for me, the magic really happens in here, where things get incredibly sexy with lots of Alcantara contrasting with the finest leather that you'll have the luxury of finding in any car. So let's hop in and immerse ourselves and find out what that fancy diff and that mildly breathed on engine feels like. Okay, well, this is kind of abstract, isn't it? And by kind of, I mean massively so, because we're taking a luxurious Grand Tourer onto Silverstone, and it's the full Grand Prix, so it's like the full international race circuit. So what I won't be able to do as part of this is tell you how this thing rides in terms of sort of road quality and feeling, because Silverstone's like a billiard table. It's almost perfectly smooth. So ride quality will have to wait until later on in the year. But what we can talk about is what 650 horsepower feels like from this mildly tweaked W12. And importantly, the world's largest, ooh, there they are, carbon ceramic brakes. Okay, so warm-up lap out of the way. Everything's up to temp, ESC off. Let's see what this thing's all about. Under braking, here we go, down. A gear with this twin clutch gearbox. Now amazingly, I've always been a big fan of twin clutch boxes, but I never thought I'd experience a Continental GT on a race circuit, and this is actually, weirdly, where you really feel the dynamics of a twin clutch, because under heavy braking, down through the gears, it's actually there for you. Unlike a torque converter box, which you would typically find in this genre of car, those snappy reactions of gear shift simply wouldn't be there for you. Now, coming down Hanger Straight, 155 miles an hour into the braking zone with these carbon ceramic brakes. Rotate, rotate. You can hear some understeer. That's not really a criticism of the car. This isn't its native environment. It's not really about that. It's about it's about understanding what this thing feels like as a dynamic proposition of a road car. And you would just never imagine that you'd be able to throw a big car like this into a corner like this. Because it's got such a long wheelbase when it does let loose. It's so progressive. It's cool. It's a lot of fun. Can't imagine I'm ever gonna drive a Bentley like this ever again, but it's that's what makes the day so good, isn't it? There's so much torque. You feel this massive ball of energy, 900 Newton meters of torque, and then all the power in the world under your right foot. What a machine. So much torque to brake traction as well. Despite the four-wheel drive, it'll do it for you all day long. It's funny, in a weird way, this is totally pointless exercise, and on the other hand, it's absolutely awesome. Things we can't really discuss in great deal, but it's still running the now famous 3-chamber air suspension. Now, Silverstone surface is super smooth, so we don't know too much about that, but what I can tell you is this anti-roll system is bending physics. It does a remarkable job of keeping this heavy chassis in check. Now, once again, on track, it's not its native environment, but if you were to wind your way down to the south of France and just so happen to find yourself on the Col de Torini before you roll into Monte Carlo, that is its native environment, and it will do a fabulous job of doing that. And you're not going to be getting any brake fade on the wind down from the Alps to the coast, because the big carbon ceramics are there for you. 33 kilograms of weight saving now versus the standard iron ones, which are available on the standard non-speed cars. All of this stuff adds up, but really it's all about that rear end, the rear wheel steer, the new E-diff, the LSD. Yeah, it's a cool thing for a big car. Is it the most dynamic road-going Bentley ever? I'd probably say it is. Truthfully, it's the first Bentley I've driven on track like this, so I wouldn't really know, but I'm pretty sure it is. It's a lot of fun. Look, if you can do this in a Bentley on track, on the road, you're not going to get anywhere near it, and it'll be great. And it's just good to know that you've got it. The brakes are there for you. Massive torque, massive stopping power, great handling. Yeah, it's cool. It's a really cool thing. You can hear a bit of understeer, but come on, what are we really talking about here? It's just having a lot of fun in a really beautiful car, isn't it? I look forward to driving it out on the road. That's where this thing will really shine. There's also no proximity to surroundings here, so that sense of speed, which it does very well of disguising, isn't coming through. But you get this on a nice country road, you soon realize what the engineers have been working on for the last 2 years. Very cool. Okay, so there you have it. Now, chances are 99% of Continental Speed owners will probably never take their car on track or drive it like that, but I don't think that's the point. I think it's a testament to the confidence of Bentley and their engineers that they go, do you know what, we reckon we can get away with launching this thing on the full Formula One layout of Silverstone, which I think is brilliant. It doesn't matter if you're not going to drive it like that, it's just knowing that you've got that foundation under your right foot. For me, defining feature, the LSD, diff's brilliant, all of that traction's great, rear wheel steer is brilliant, but the mass is still there. It's still over 2 tons with 650 horsepower and 900 Newton meters of torque. And for me, the brakes give so much confidence to this car because the speed it develops, I mean, it's literally in the name, the speed it develops is outstanding. I mean, hanger straight, you're at the end of there, 155, 160 miles an hour in a car that weighs over 2 tons. And sure enough, it stops as well as it goes. And I can't tell you, do not underestimate how much confidence brakes give you to drive a car properly. So yeah, handles brilliantly. I'm just really looking forward now to getting this thing on a road. We know what it's capable of, but really its realm is out there on a nice, tight, twisty road trip territory. I want to see what the suspension's like out there. Yeah, it'll be great. But up until this point, first impressions, Bentley, very impressive indeed. Is it the most dynamic Continental GT ever made? Yeah, I'm pretty confident in that, but let's see how it fares out on the road in the not too distant future. So questions and comments below. If there's anything you want to know, hear, see, whatever with this car, we will be having more time with it in the future. So leave it in the comment section below. As always, thanks so much for watching. We shall see you next time. Ciao.